Yeah, I'm really actually excited to start flying. No fear.
Start helping you.
Hey guys, it's Matt with Hobby King. Welcome back. We are doing a little series here we're going to call 1, 2, 3D, kind of a intro to the basics of 3D and kind of take some of the mystery out of this thing, teach you guys some of the basics, get things going. Now, as you know, I am no 3D pilot, so I have got my good friend Michael Wargo here. He is a team pilot here with Hobby King. Welcome, Michael. What do we got going on here, man? Tell me about what we're doing.
Well, I'm really excited because Hobby King went through a lot of time, trouble, and expense to relocate me to help all of you guys who are sport flying, basic aerobatic flying, and 3D flying have a bit more success with this hobby and a bit more success with the airplanes. We would really like to see some more people learn to fly 3D and to learn a little bit more about aerobatics and not be quite so afraid of it. So we're going to demystify some of the maneuvers that you've been seeing and show you that they're not quite as difficult as they seem.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, really. We're going to fly some foamies. These are 3 different genres of foamies. This one over here, this Yak 55, is going to fly quite a bit more like a balsa airplane, like a regular airplane. This one is the Hobby King Galaxy, and this plane is made of Depron. And it's very light, flies very precisely, and actually is one of my favorite types of foamies to fly. The only disadvantage is it's a little more breakable, yeah. But the flight surfaces are very stiff, and what that does in essence is makes the thing fly very precisely. And it does exactly what you tell it to. And most of the indoor competitions and F3P competitions are made with this plane. This type of plane is very light. This plane right here is an EPP model. It's going to fly very similarly to this one, except this one, as you can see, is very flexible. I mean, you can bump it and bang it and hit the ground with it, and basically you should be able to just throw it back up and fly it. They're all very easy to glue back together, this one especially so. All of these planes have a few things in common. One is large throws and big flight controls, and that is necessary because 3D flying is post-stall maneuvers. That means the plane is not necessarily flying hanging on the wing, it's also being held up by the propeller as well. Since the plane isn't going very fast, there's not a lot of air moving over the control surface, and that's why you require a lot more. It's not just to make more radical maneuvers, it is literally to be able to control it while it's going that slow. And a lot of the maneuvers are controlled just by the prop wash alone. But 3D is kind of funny because there's a few basic maneuvers that we have to learn in order to be able to do the real complicated, really cool stuff that everybody likes to see. The good news is these maneuvers are pretty easy. The basic ones are just getting used to having the plane in a stalled configuration.
So over the weekend, I got these aircraft basically assembled, just sort of glued together for Michael so that we could get started when he got here. And pretty much, especially with the Yak here, did everything according to the manual, built with the recommended throws, recommended servo weights, everything else. Pretty much the moment Michael got here, he told me it was all wrong and it wasn't gonna fly well. So yeah, basically he explained a lot of things, really opened my eyes, changed my perspective on how to set up and the purpose for the different notches on your control horns and the different lengths and all that stuff, and really helped me to understand what that's actually about, which is super cool because it's going to change how I build pretty much every airplane.
Often you see a big difference between the length of the control horns. You see the length of this one and the length of the one that's actually on here, where there's actually extensions on it. There's a lot of misconceptions, and the first one is the longer the better. The longer it is, the more throw. Well, the thing is, there is an exactly right length to accomplish the goal. And Matt here is real cool. He built a really neat visual aid to show you exactly why and how this works. What we've done here is we've drilled multiple holes on each of these, the servo arm and the control horn, to show you how much the surface moves when you attach it in each of the different holes. So what we're going to do now is we have it on the top hole of the servo arm, top hole of the control horn, and when I move the servo to its max travel, as you can see, I can't reach the end of the surface's physical limits. Okay? Now, if I move this to the other extreme, which is over here, when I move the servo arm to its max, the servo to its max travel, look what I've done. I've overdriven its max physical limits. And that's a big problem for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is you are binding the servo and you can burn your servo up. Reason number two, you lose resolution. And resolution we'll explain a little later. And you're also losing torque. That means 100-ounce torque may only give you 75 ounces because it just doesn't have the resolution. Now, if I put this right in the middle, it's perfect. What's going to happen is when I move this to its physical limits, that's going to be at its physical limits. That means it is as far as the servo can travel, and then the surface travels as far as it's supposed to. That means the relationship with the stick and the airplane is going to be 100% of its max travel from center to the end. And that's what we're looking for. You can accomplish it in different ways. Obviously, you can move this down here. That means the servo arm itself is not going to travel as far. And you can move it to the lowest horn on here. And that will accomplish basically the same goal. As you can see, we're pretty much at the same spot. You want all the throw you can out of a 3D airplane because you need 45 degrees of throw in the elevator most of the time, at least.
Hey, so that was cool. The wooden thing really makes a lot of sense. Show me what it is we did here on the airplane to correct this problem.
Well, when we first did it, as you recall, this was in the very outside hole.
Totally.
Okay, so when we deflected the surface, it slammed it up against the elevator and you could hear the servo binding up. Mm-hmm. So what we did was we kept moving in until when I moved the rudder as far as it would go, it basically was as far as the servo could pull it.
Got it.
And we made that adjustment.
So we moved.
On the rudder, we moved it in 2 holes and flip it over to the elevator. We moved it in 1 hole to make sure we had full deflection. You can see how far the servo is traveling and it's matching. And we have absolutely perfect resolution.
Resolution being essentially, for layman's terms as it were, meaning your full throw here. So when my stick is at the limit here on the remote, so is my servo. And that relationship is fixed. So at any given point, the servo is in the same place as my stick.
But when we talk about resolution and they talk about servo resolution, see, we can accomplish this same goal as we did on the model by just changing the travel. Mm-hmm. In other words, if it's pressing it too far, we can just adjust the travel.
Which is what
back.
I normally would have done in the past.
Correct,
right?
Which is exactly what you did on this one.
Right.
So by trying not to bind up the servo, what we would do is, let's say, take the travel adjust from 100% down to 75%.
Right.
Well, the big problem with that is if you move a surface 4 inches, only using 3/4 of the servo's available travel, you're going to end up costing yourself resolution. You want that servo to go all the way, and it's a basic leverage problem. What I'm trying to say is, if the servo will travel this much to get the full range of travel, it's perfect. If the servo only travels this far and you get full range, that means half of its available torque and range and resolution is completely wasted. That means my 100-ounce servo will only put out 50 ounces of torque.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
So that 100-ounce rating is based on that full throw.
Exactly.
Got it.
Now, if you're flying something like a jet or something like that, or that doesn't require a lot of throw,
you're wasting
this really works for you pretty well because you can take advantage of leverage and you could put it on the inside one and make it only travel a 1/2 inch to make that flight surface only go a 1/2 inch. And in that case, this 100-ounce servo is extremely strong.
Sure.
You're actually
amplifying
going,
the torque.
exactly, you're actually amplifying the torque.
Oh my god, it is a marshmallow. Oh, look at him go.
Right out of the box.
Not bad, huh? Yay, I got one right. Okay, you helped a ton. Good. I glued it together straight.
Almost doesn't make sense coupling that.
Huh, yeah, why would it? Oh, you know, I did put, there's right and a down thrust in it. I may have a bit much. Is that pretty spot on? Oh, that's right. Stationary. Yes. How's that orange radio?
Nice. It actually feels
Inexpensive
really
radio.
good. It's pulling hard to the left here, so.
Tremendous.